Are you putting something on someone's property that you weren't asked to? That's vandalism. Now, it could be the most beautiful thing in the world. Like, I love graffiti. I think graffiti's hot, it's exciting, it has energy. But if I owned a store, would I want it on the side of my store?
Both Kathleen and I have degrees in fine arts. We've certainly given a lot of thought about art and what constitutes art. And that can be debated. But I revere great art. And yet what we're seeing here is simply egocentric vandalism.
Should I do that on the side of TJ Maxx? I don't think they would think it's art. If they woke up one morning and they had this 100-foot by 100-foot painting of people collecting cans and bottles on the side of their building, you know, saying, recycle, you big corporate monster, you know, that I don't think they would think that's art.
What is it really doing in the long run? Are we really destroying things? We're not, you know, I'm not taking down this wall. There's just paint being put on this wall.
Well, you can only scrub a building so much time. It takes off stone every time you do that. It takes mortar out of the joints every single time that it gets tagged and cleaned. And when that happens, there are things like Old South Church, the pudding stone that church is made of, we can't mine it anymore. It doesn't exist around Boston.
This is just malicious vandalism. It's not even mindless vandalism, really. This is an assault on our community, and we see it in every community in the city of Boston.
They want to criminalize it so it's not an art, and that's the kind of shadow they cast on that. And media will, you know, go along with them and help portray graffiti and street art as vandalism and, you know, almost as violent acts. They prosecute it almost harsher than, you know, violent acts a lot of the times.
When arrests are made, we prepare notebooks of photographs and statements and go to court to try to get penalties against these perpetrators and to really defend our neighborhood. In fact, within 1 week of the submission of our first notebook of courtroom evidence, the press rep from Boston Municipal Court was saying, we take this crime seriously.
The punishment for graffiti, I think, is a little ridiculous, especially in Boston because it's considered a felony. Up to like $1,000 worth of damage you could go to jail for.
I understand that people don't want people painting on their buildings. I totally understand that. That's so understandable, but it's not fair that someone who's just painting on stuff is gonna get a felony.
One of our colleagues in Mission Hill, Bob Francie, is just a remarkable guy. And he and his group succeeded in getting a $10,000 fine against a kid who had no prior criminal record. He now has a felony conviction on his permanent record. This will affect the rest of his life.
If I was arrested, you could make me paint over it, you know? Why can't people just paint over the, you know, why can't you just make, if you were to arrest some graffiti punk, wouldn't it be better to just humiliate him and make him tag over all of his own tags rather than all the fines and the jail time and stuff like that? I think the man wants us to just, you know, work 9 to 5, pay our taxes, and don't ask questions. You know, don't ever think about, you know, the possibility of art in society on an everyday basis for free. Art is something you should have to pay for, and it's something you can only afford if you're really rich. So that's, I think that's kind of what the man wants people to kind of think about art.
If they have that much desire to show their work, then create a venue to have your work. But, you know, breaking the law is breaking the law.
What's very likable about street art is that it's instant. You don't have to wait for exposure. You don't have to go whore yourself out and, you know, promote and try to make connections to get into a gallery. Instantly, the street is a gallery, and it can be equally as viable.
Everyone who goes out onto the street sees street art. That is not something you can say for the Museum of Fine Arts.
We live in a visual society, and I think that visual stimulus is, whether one knows it or not, but it's always subliminal, and it always makes you feel something. That's why I tend to, if I do outdoor art, I try to make it bright. I try to use colors, be sensitive to the communities that it's going in, so that you can use colors that mean something to them, that are always uplifting. I personally don't think that anyone has the right to put anything on anyone else's property that is not theirs. Is it art? Yes. Anything that you create actually is art. If you put two popsicle sticks together in a string and your face on it and you call it Cynthia, it's art. However, do you have the right to take that now and then glue it on the back of my shirt? No. No.
Graffiti vandalism is challenging because, of course, they're out creeping around in hoodies between 3 a.m. and dawn to tag defenseless buildings. And some of them claim that this is a courageous act. I think that is utterly preposterous. You know, real artists in rich society, they're not out creeping around in hoodies, elevating themselves by putting their own personal tags up.
Well, it's really hard to get people who don't like graffiti to actually appreciate it, because they're not going to understand what it means or what it says. And the same goes for street art, where only people looking at it are people who want to document it, whether they be art students, high school kids, gallery owners, other street artists. They're basically making it for each other.
Street art is an art of our generation. Most absolutely. We were raised on television. We are the first generation raised on the internet. We have images, 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 images coming at us constantly. We all have ADD. All this stuff, right? Street art is ours. All this stuff that is coming at us constantly, we need to take, process, and put back out there.
See, I don't consider myself a street artist by any means. I consider myself a person living in the 21st century who comes from a certain place that is influenced by what's going on around them. I guess you could say I'm an artist of my time.
I think on one hand, street art can beautify. There is a chance of that. It also questions. It kind of wakes up people in the street and says, hey, there's art here, you know? Or consider the possibility of art being here or there, or there.
Slow pain, no game, we get the vein, got it on the in there. Lyrically high when we ride up on stage, addicted to the glory. Money is power. Mike like it was Tyson, last name is Holyfield. Rock the stage like an earthquake with the record deal. Never again will the feel this real. Feelings oh so ill, it's like.
I don't really think my mom would be really happy with me getting a felony.
Like the way y'all look in the mirror, can't even look in my eyes, yo. Cause I lie to myself more than anyone I know. Staring at my left side, there's a hole. It's hollow like a drum, trying to tap a beat, cause I can even hear a beat, I'm done. Till we electric shot this boombox, now I got an 808 ventricle pump. It's all love, hugs and kisses when we ride up with the riches, kissing bitches.
Oh man, I'm getting down.
Overrated, incarcerated, it's awful. Will the plan taste it is lawful. Y'all can hear me though, 6x8 claustrophobic, yo, break it down, homies, go. Cause I'm lost and down in this lost and